When I first tested ad-based content models years ago, the immediate disconnect between the sheer volume of effort required in the base. Most people look at the YouTube monetization threshold as a finish line. In reality, it is merely the entry fee into a highly volatile, low-leverage system.
Right. We are examining the internal analytics of a creator, Jessica Miyuki, who recently crossed that exact threshold. After a year of consistent, highly technical uploading, she reached roughly 7,600 subscribers.
Which provides a very precise operational case study of what happens after the gates finally open.
Exactly. The mission for this deep dive is to analyze her first 6 months of AdSense revenue, to really understand the mechanics of platform leverage, the fragility of the creator infrastructure, and ultimately, the true economics of the attention market.
Line revenue was, it was the most jarring realization.
It forces a complete recalibration of how you value your own time. I mean, the input to output ratio in algorithmic media just does not follow traditional business logic.
No, it doesn't.
If you are operating a standard service business, a year of 40-hour weeks guarantees a certain baseline of capital. In this ecosystem, a year of highly skilled labor guarantees absolutely nothing until you cross an arbitrary algorithmic threshold.
Let's examine those inputs to start, because the operational grind for this creator lasted a full year, specifically from May 2023 to April 2024.
Right.
The fundamental requirement to unlock monetization on this platform is capturing 4,000 hours of human attention, alongside reaching 1,000 subscribers.
And to achieve this, her strategy relied heavily on producing 10 to 15-minute travel and art vlogs. She was documenting trips to Japan, to Mallorca, dedicating massive amounts of time to filming, editing, color grading, and structuring these long-form narratives.
The reality of pacing in this environment is stark. You really have to look at her initial data to understand the psychological endurance required here.
Yeah, after her first month of uploading these complex videos, the analytics showed exactly 26 subscribers and 34.4 watch hours.
34 hours.
Right. When you measure 34 hours against a threshold of 4,000, the true distance of that gap becomes violently apparent.
It's a flat line. For the vast majority of that year, the growth curve was essentially flat. She was executing a highly demanding workflow editing full long-form videos weekly, managing short-form content across other platforms like Instagram, cutting reels and shorts. All of this with zero financial return.
Which leads to the assumption you naturally make. The assumption most operators make when entering this space is that if you put in serious high-quality effort, the system will eventually recognize and reward that merit.
But the content ecosystem is not a meritocracy of effort. It is a system governed by variance.
Totally.
The breakout anomaly in this case study completely bypasses the expected return on effort. The tipping point for her channel was not a highly produced 15-minute travel documentary that took weeks to edit.
No, it was an unscripted, highly random, short of her making waffles for her dog.
Exactly. That single piece of micro-content triggered 10,000 views and brought in 30 subscribers in a single day. That was the catalyst that finally pushed her over the monetization threshold.
This is a critical analytical takeaway for anyone operating in this space. High-effort production does not guarantee algorithmic distribution.
Right.
You can spend 80 hours crafting a cinematic travel vlog that yields 200 views, while a 15-second clip of a dog eating a waffle captures the algorithm's favor. The system distributes reach based on engagement triggers and retention loops. It's entirely divorced from the creator's labor input.
It really emphasizes how unpredictable the terrain is. You are deploying capital in the form of time, equipment, and travel into a machine that might randomly reward a throwaway moment over your flagship product.
Yeah.
And once that threshold is finally crossed, the focus naturally shifts to the actual mechanism of revenue. We need to look at the fragility of the AdSense infrastructure itself.
The core data from her first 6 months of monetization, spanning from April to September 2024, totals exactly $1,894.95.
That number requires context. That is roughly $1,900 generated after a full year of unpaid labor, functioning as a solo production house, a cinematographer, an editor, a marketer.
But the more pressing issue here is the strategic risk embedded in the infrastructure itself. If you focus on the data from April and May, you uncover a critical point of failure that most operators just ignore when they are building a business on rented land.
In April, her initial month of monetization, she earned $20.09. However, she never actually received that money.
Right, it was lost in cyberspace due to an administrative setup error.
Because she operates other independent businesses, she attempted to consolidate her Google AdSense under a sole proprietor business structure.
And when you try to link multiple entities or verify tax information within these monolithic platforms, the automated compliance systems are notoriously rigid. We actually implemented a similar digital payment deployment recently, and the realization that a single administrative error in a rigid back-end system can completely sever the link between product momentum and revenue, it's sobering.
You don't control the payment rails.
Exactly. You have no direct line to a human being who can override the system. When you are dealing with a platform of this scale, a simple classification error doesn't just delay a payment, it paralyzes your entire operation.
And that paralysis created a severe momentum cost for her. Because of this back-end error, she was effectively locked out of her monetization account for a week in May.
She had to navigate automated email support loops between YouTube and Google AdSense just to resolve it.
And this lockout occurred precisely when her videos were gaining major algorithmic traction.
The timing is the ultimate penalty here. Her Mallorca video surged to 49,000 views, and her Fukuoka video hit 30,000 views.
Those were her highest performing long-form assets to date.
They were scaling rapidly, but because the infrastructure was broken, the capitalization on that attention was heavily compromised.
This is the danger of relying on an infrastructure where you have zero administrative leverage. If a traditional client owes you money, you can withhold services, you can negotiate, you can call them directly.
Right.
If the platform's automated payment system flags your account, your revenue simply halts, regardless of how much attention your product is generating.
Which brings us to the broader incentive structures at play, specifically the platform's unseen tax on the creator. Let's analyze her specific content strategy leading up to this point.
She deliberately prioritized videos that were over 10 minutes long. She noted that other creators on forums were struggling to reach the watch hour requirement because they were posting 2 to 3 minute videos.
This reveals an overlooked incentive designed by the platform. The system demands 4,000 watch hours. Therefore, it inherently incentivizes creators to stretch their content, to produce longer formats regardless of whether the narrative actually requires it.
The platform fundamentally trades creator burnout for platform retention.
Yes, they need maximum inventory to serve ads against. By setting the threshold at 4,000 hours, they are training the operator to produce the exact type of long-form, attention-heavy inventory the platform finds most valuable, all before paying the creator a single cent.
She was editing a full 10 to 15 minute video every single week, specifically to harvest those watch hours. When you combine that with the demands of cross-platform promotion producing reels and shorts to drive traffic from other networks back to her channel, the operational load directly leads to burnout.
And she explicitly acknowledged hitting that point of exhaustion.
But the physical and operational burnout is only the first layer. The second order effect of this incentive structure is the psychological cost.
When you operate in this system, you are forced to tie your operational success to highly volatile, public-facing metrics.
View counts, subscriber growth, watch hours. She noted that these seemingly trivial numbers begin to carry immense weight.
Naturally.
When you are putting a piece of your own identity and creative vision into the market, and the market responds with silence or low views, it feels like a direct reflection of your personal value. It is very difficult for a solo operator to separate the data from their self-worth.
Maintaining a business in this environment requires immense psychological resilience. It isn't just about editing skills or framing a shot. It is about surviving the feedback loop.
She specifically detailed her reliance on external perspective to navigate this.
Right. She utilized therapy, specifically through BetterHelp, to restructure her negative thoughts and remain grounded.
It's worth noting that BetterHelp also served as a sponsor for her content, which is a fascinating intersection of resolving a problem while simultaneously monetizing the solution. But the broader takeaway stands.
When your self-worth is tethered to algorithmic dashboards that you cannot control, establishing mental health infrastructure becomes an absolute operational necessity, not just a luxury.
If your psychological baseline collapses, your production halts.
Exactly. Therapy, in this context, is effectively operational maintenance.
That volatility is the perfect transition into the system itself and the illusion of passive income. A lot of operators enter this space believing that building a content library creates an annuity.
Let's examine the data from the summer months to prove how unpredictable the AdSense model truly is. The disconnect between raw viewership and actual financial yield is where the system's volatility becomes undeniable.
Look at her July peak. She accumulated 137,000 views across her channel, heavily driven by a surfing video that quickly hit 56,000 views.
And that month yielded a grand total of $409.75.
She noticed that videos with turquoise, ocean-themed thumbnails were performing exceptionally well, so she adapted her strategy to produce more surf and snorkel content. It seemed like a clear, logical formula. Find the signal, double down on the signal.
But then we look at the data for August. In August, her total viewership dropped to 116,000 views. Yet, her revenue actually increased to $430.12.
She had fewer views, but made more money. The system defies linear logic.
Exactly. This highlights the complete lack of pricing control. A creator's revenue is entirely dependent on fluctuating CPM and RPM rates.
For context, CPM is what the advertiser pays the platform for 1,000 views, and RPM is the revenue the creator actually takes home per 1,000 views.
Right, and these rates are dictated by advertiser demand, macroeconomic seasonality, and back-end platform algorithms.
So an ocean-themed surfing video might attract a completely different class of advertiser than a vlog about exploring a city in Japan.
Precisely. You can have a month where your viewership drops by 20%, but your revenue increases because the specific demographic watching that month happens to be highly valued by an advertiser running a campaign at that exact moment.
And conversely, you could have a video go viral, but if it appeals to a demographic that advertisers do not value, or if the topic is deemed not brand safe, the financial return will be negligible.
You are operating blind in a marketplace where the platform controls the pricing, the buyer, and the distribution.
But the most revealing data point comes in September. Context matters here. She stated that she had a lot of other things going on at the time, so she intentionally pulled back her effort.
She didn't upload with the same aggressive consistency.
Right. She needed a break from the treadmill.
And the market response was immediate. Her viewership was instantly halved, dropping to 56,900 views. Consequently, her revenue fell sharply to $264.
This requires a major reframing of how we view platform monetization. AdSense is frequently sold as a pathway to predictable, passive income.
But the reality is that it functions more like a fluctuating dividend that requires active, continuous labor. The exact moment this creator reduced her input, the output decayed.
There is no passive momentum at this scale. The algorithm requires constant feeding.
If you stop producing, the platform stops distributing your past catalog with the same priority. The baseline does not hold itself up. You are continuously running on a treadmill just to maintain your current position. If you step off, you don't stay in the same place. You are immediately moved backward.
So what is the true economic model here? She described her AdSense earnings over those 6 months as money for fancier groceries, buying smoked salmon, funding a new GoPro, or booking a flight.
It is supplementary capital. It is not foundational leverage. It certainly isn't a replacement for a salary after a year of intense labor.
The actual leverage in the creator economy does not come from AdSense. It lies in direct sponsorships and negotiated brand rates.
When you secure a brand deal, you are establishing a fixed contract. You are injecting predictability into an inherently unpredictable system. You are no longer relying on a fractional percentage of an invisible ad auction. You are setting your own market value based on the specific niche attention you command.
This highlights a crucial operator insight from her overall strategy. She didn't abandon her other revenue streams to chase the algorithm.
She explicitly stated that she correctly maintained her independent freelance design work and her gallery art operations.
That is the mark of a resilient business architecture. Relying solely on a single platform's fluctuating AdSense payouts, without controlling the means of distribution or securing direct brand deals, is fundamentally unstable.
She recognized that the platform is a tool for reach, not a reliable employer. Maintaining her independent design and art businesses ensured she wasn't entirely captive to the algorithm's whims.
She used the platform as a top-of-funnel awareness engine, while preserving her core controllable business units.
Reaching the YouTube monetization threshold proves one critical thing. It proves you possess the discipline and technical capability to build a product that captures human attention. It proves you can operate a complex workflow consistently for a year with zero guarantee of success.
It is a profound filter. It separates the operators from the observers. However, the data clearly demonstrates that AdSense alone is a highly inefficient mechanism for capturing the actual financial value of that product.
It serves as an entry point, a validation metric, but it isn't the business itself. It is a highly volatile, low-leverage stream that requires continuous active maintenance.
If a system requires a year of unpaid, highly technical labor just to unlock a volatile, low-leverage revenue stream, are you actually building a business or are you just subsidizing theirs?